Welcome, guys, to Metallurium Pages. It's a great pleasure to talk with you about the Answer Lights in the Black Void, this new album, Transcendental, and multi related to the metal world in general. So we are starting by asking, how are you doing today? How is the band during the last couple years? Because your previous album, Too Short, was released in 2023.
Yeah, it's going good. A third album now out, and we're growing from the duo to a five-piece slowly, and especially for live. Yeah, it's been an interesting album. We decided to do a bit more kind of experimenting within the Doom label genre. And yeah, we're quite happy with the result. So it's been a learning curve for future albums as well.
Yeah, we've also included our musician friends a bit more. Um, so as Jason mentioned, we are now a five-piece since 2023. And so we've included more guitar solos in our Transcendental album than before. Yeah, we had a show in London in the 27th of September. So for this year, that was our last show abroad. And then we are going to have another two here in Hungary.
Okay, interesting. So, well, the next question goes to there. So, why do you decision to now to include just more five people, just not two as since the beginning?
Well, the five people is needed to bring the whole project on stage. So that's how I meant it. Because when we started, we were only two of us. We did not plan to play live, and then we've got an invitation from a friend of mine who's an organizer in Hammer of Doom Festival. That was in 2023. And so we had to think fast, and we had to gather musicians to be able to play live. So this is how the live formation came to be.
Okay. So, and then this topic, let's return into the transcendental. So, when do you decide to start writing songs for this new album? And perhaps any of these new songs are perhaps rescue for the previous compositions that you left for the previous album, for the first album. Who knows?
Well, we continuously are busy with the band, the project, and writing songs. We started in 2021, and we're now 4 years, nearly 5 years down the line. So it's a continual procedure. We want to try and release an album at least every 1.5, maximum 2 years. So now that this one is released, we've already, started talking about where we want to go for the next one. What ideas, the what worked well on the last albums, and how can we continue to develop our own style, and that's not only musically but also lyrically and conceptually. As you might have seen from the previous albums, we try and dive into a bit more deeper, mature kind of way of approaching the music with philosophy, psychology, and self work. I think Martina can add on this in a moment. So yeah, that's basically it's nonstop.
Yeah. I always tell to Jason when we talk about our project, it is not like a conscious decision. When we write songs, maybe some part of it can be conscious, like the vibe. When we settle with a vibe of a certain song, but the rest, it comes naturally by itself. How the lyrics fit in the musical arrangement, how the topic fits the whole album concept. It's natural. It's a natural process for us.
We can't know, or we don't know how other bands, compose their music or create their concepts. You can see by how people release their music. What we try to express and communicate through our music is that what we write and lyrically and musically is very close to who we are and the message we want to give. We're not a calculated concept where it's got to fit this niche or this or that. No, obviously we're very strongly linked to the doom metal because it's expressing your emotion. It's going very deep and with a deep and heavy sound. And with this comes, the melancholy. And what everyone deals in their life is that life, it's a struggle, it's a continual suffering.
So it dives into your psyche, your everyday struggles, your emotional imbalance, your improvement, how you handle people, how you handle yourself. And we try to get this into the music as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next question, the next question is talking about this kind of topic because when you said it said the music is need to be just created by sensations or feelings at the same at some point, but then you decide to include the mathematical topic into the music. That's completely normal how to create the music. But for you, when you create a new song, a new album, so for you, which is the main part? The feeling sensation or the mathematical aspect, because the music exists with both, and sometimes you need to mix numbers to create a riff, to create a rhyme, to create a schemes, etc. But for you, which part is the most important thing when you create music?
Well, I think the most important is for Jason to shape some kind of riffs or song sketches, because I can bring melodies or my lyrical ideas, but I need to sing to something. When I bring a melody, Jason can be inspired by it, but obviously he needs to like shape it and mend it together.
Yeah, I understand what you lay on the table here, regarding emotion versus, mathematics. How you want to look at music as, numbers or vibrations, frequencies that, hit the right strings. I think for this project, it's absolutely the emotion, for sure. The one is connected with the other, but we definitely do not compose music where we look at any kind of mathematical formula or numbers with riffs or with melodies or whatever.
It's not heavy on the side of music theory, let's put it this way.
Yeah. And I think it's makes sense because it doesn't have much sense to try and express emotion by diving into music theory. Of course, there are methods within a music theory which can give you a specific result of achieving a glorious feeling or a sad feeling with how you use your notes. But I think it's by trial and error that it works better.
And also it needs to be in balance. If you think of a music as like a prog metal, yeah, it's very nice, very engaging, but it is also dangerous if you don't put the other sides, so the emotions in it. Then it's just an empty a sports act on your instrument.
Yeah, we're definitely less of the technique, and where our balance is more to the emotional. It speaks for itself that we're choosing to do this doom style music.
Okay. Well, since the beginning, since you created the band in 2021, the band has a busy schedule releasing albums because each 2 years present a new album. The first album for Learn was released in 2021. Now the second one it was released in 2023, and now we have this new album 2025. A curious thing, each 2 years a difference from each album. So, and for this, perhaps you have this kind of situation. You could that you will continue releasing albums each 2 years or each 3 years. Who know? As in, like I don't know, Hawaiian bands like the B, let's continue releasing albums each 2 years. So it means that in 2027 we will receive a new album.
Yeah, well, we don't have the luxury to wait 5 or 10 years before releasing the next album because the musical industry is just so packed that you get lost in the thousands and thousands of band. People are not going to remember you, especially if you are a new, quite new band or formation. So, and on the other hand, we cannot do it yearly, so we cannot release albums yearly because we also have our other projects and other bands we are busy with. So this happened to be like
Yeah,
okay interval.
exactly. Like Martina said, we first, the fact that we are playing niche music means that, we also reach a niche crowd. Like she said, we don't have the luxury also that, we have a big label which is pushing us to, a big audience, if even if that big audience, if there's a reach for this. So for us to continue also building our fan base and to provide music for the people that like our music and to grow, it is also necessary to build a good catalog of music, of albums, because nowadays, with the fact where you must know as well as a webzine that it's a flooded market. There's a lot of music coming out, so either maybe splitting it into two ways. Either you're in the section where you're with a big label and you get big push and you get a big reach. That's one way of doing it, achieving it. Speaking a bit of black and white here. Or you are in a niche and you build your fan base with albums, and that'll take maybe 5, 6, 7 years, and then when you have 5 to 6 albums, and then you can grow a fan base where that you can pull 200 to 300 people at your shows on your own merit. So yeah, that's basically what we're aiming for.
Hmm. Okay. Now we're talking about more the promotion of this transcendental. So what kind of promotion do you have? I saw that you will embark some tours, some lives there, and especially in Europe. So perhaps you will embark first time in Asia, Latin America. Who knows? What kind of plans do you have for transcendental, and obviously for the band?
Well, for next year, we're hoping to do some European tour dates. It's important for us to be able to see if we can maybe join a bigger band as a support act, a second or third act on an established band. Because as a beginning band, again, it's very hard to get shows in Europe because there's a lot of demand. You probably have the same, in your region as well. We were fortunate enough to play in Chile this year, have this little tour, which was very humbling. We are talking about maybe going to Japan for a small tour next year. So yeah, plans are definitely we need to play in Europe to promote the album, and then Japan's on the list, so that would be a good start.
But did you mean other kind of promotion as well?
Correct. Perhaps you will release more videos. Perhaps you are working. Well, now you are working in a full album. Who knows?
Yeah, honestly, the promotion of this album was a bit less what we've expected, and we are still trying to promote Transcendental. Reviews are still coming out, interviews are still in progress. It's because of logistical issues, we had to start everything a bit later. So now we are, let's say, like a month later with everything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's building up a bit, but again, everything does fall a bit into the fact where you have to calculate the fact on, how much music is coming out in which period, and, trying to push through this huge barrier. So yeah,
But it's always flooded.
it's always flooded. Yeah, we did quite a lot of video clips this time round. I think five. One really professional one for Cine Morbo, and four we have the possibility of doing that together. A bit more low budget clips. So yeah, I mean, all in all, we've done the best we can, and hopefully it's grown the name a bit more.
Okay, okay. Now, well, the album's like will be just it was released last month. So now, how it was the reception from especially from the reviews, the comments, the people in general, and obviously, how do you take, for example, or how do you take a bad review? How's your opinion about the review? Because for some musicians, the bad reviews is good because they try to see another look or another face with a different people.
Well, for us, it's all the reviews we've had so far have been really good. Our problem is not that we that we got bad reviews, we just haven't had enough.
Yes,
And we
exactly.
go against this flooded market. So the thing which is a bit frustrating for us, that the reviews we get are all really good, but just not enough.
Yeah. I think since 2021, the only one bad review I had from a comment that our music is boring, and it's obviously it's a niche. If you are not into softer or slower music, of course it is going to be boring for you. But yeah, very good
Yeah,
feedbacks.
absolutely. And we are very interested in reading reviews, and good or bad. And to be honest, I prefer less good reviews, but that a reviewer has really taken the time to listen to the music and has found critical points where I couldn't relate to, and say, okay, yeah, well, that's someone who's really listened to the album and says, this or that could have pieced better. So from a musical ear, I always find that
very rare.
it's rare. But then I find those critical reviews very respectful, because they've really taken the time to dive into the music, and whatever. So, but in general, they're all very good. And that's actually sometimes a bit saddening, because the fact that the reviews are all good, and they're like, oh wow, this is something new for within the doom genre. And then the fact that the reach is so low, it's going to take it's going to take you 4 more years to get somewhere where, if you have a bigger reach, you can get there quicker. Because
my favorite feedback, and I've read this from more people, that I didn't know how much I need this music in my life, and that keeps the hope in me.
Yeah.
That when we are gonna have a bigger reach, then we can touch more people with our music.
I don't know what your view is on this, or how you listen to music, but when we get reviews or we get comments, and that's the warming part, is like what Martina said. It's that people get a specific kind of comfort from the music, from the emotion. That doesn't mean that they don't get comfort from any other things, but with the way that the emotion we try to share, or to give, that it seems to touch and reflect on specific parts of people's emotional side. So yeah, we really hope that this reach out can work and continue to work, because yeah, if it's helping people that much, then I guess we're on the right path.
Okay, okay. Well, interesting point, because, and that is curious that there's no too many reviews for the album. That's are curious. Well, either way, you were right on this, Jason, because there is a lot of now releases per weekend, so that's impossible to focus in just one or two or three albums. That's
Yeah.
especially. when the
Well, I
record
mean,
is. Mhm.
oh, sorry, yeah, curious question for you, seeing you're on the web scene, and then ask it directly. So, do you personally also are confronted with the fact that you have maybe too many albums that you have to review? And then not only that, because some albums are made which are much more catchy, and they hook you on the first listen, and it's, oh wow, good vibe. That's what in a bit of the consumer industry we have, and also with social media, that it's harder for the albums that used to grow on you, back in the day. I think you're a bit old as well. The fact that you didn't have much internet, and you'd have your record and you'd be in your bedroom, and it's like, okay, well, I only have money for so many records or just the one. And those albums grew on you, and they've stuck with you because you just had less, and you just really had the time to grow. I can say this with the albums that we like Typo Negative or Crowbar, in the period where the music and the reach was still less. Man, these albums are, them inside out, because you were given the time to really listen to these albums. And that's a bit what's missing in yeah, it's hard to be given the time to have these albums really grow on you when it's music that's asking you to take the time and soak everything in.
It's too much information. It's
Yeah.
it's just too much.
I always use the metaphor about with music, and the time we have within differentiating between a magazine and a book. And that's not judging that a magazine or a book, if that, they're let's say they're both mediums. But a magazine, you're on the train or in the toilet, or you're just sitting there, and you can look through, do an article, and that's good, and you have more time for this. A book, you have to sit down, you have to find the time, and you have to, start reading. But the payback that you get from reading the book, once you're immersed into this, fantasy world, or into this escapism, the payback is bigger. Unfortunately, society isn't working that much more anymore, that you're given the time for this.
Because just like a good book, our music as well needs attention and time. But
Yeah.
attention, and that's in this society right now, that's the least what people
Yeah.
give, because after 5 seconds they already lost.
Yeah.
But they need to train their brain and their attention again to be able to focus. People are not sick. It's not ADHD and whatever trendy thing they are calling it now. No, people should just have some self-discipline to concentrate on one thing more than 5 seconds.
And our music and the emotion we try to share and let come across, it's not usable for example, Instagram snippets. Of course, you can do that as promotion. Of course, you can use it. There's a tool to do it, but you will not grasp the essence of the song, and you will not grasp the depth and the emotion by 20-second, 30-second snippets. You can get an impression, and hopefully a good one, but yeah, it's the parameters of society have been constructed that easy and light is more acceptable than the heavy and what's asking more time.
Well, that is true. That is true because, well, yes, and well, yeah, in the 80s or the 90s, we have 60 releases per. It was for 7 or 8 months. Now we have 60 releases per weekend. That's completely different. And now also Martina says, because what Martina says about the span attention now, this one, because now the people just want to hear the first 5 seconds, and according to the science, a good song is the first 15 seconds. It is a good song, but it's not for the metal, especially for the doom. It's not like that. You need to hear
we're not even
vocals.
we haven't even gone through our first note in the 50s. The first riff is still ringing out in the 15 seconds. So
Well, that's that now how is the works. No, in this quotation
Yeah.
you mentioned two things about now. So for you, do you think the situation for the platforms, for digital platforms, Spotify, Apple, etc., etc. So perhaps has this the blame of this new expand attention now, because just the metal scene is continue releasing albums in physical formats, and as you can see, the big labels like Sony Music, like Soul Food in Europe, and etc., are continue buying the bigger labels, because now Century Media or Nuclear Blast belongs to Sony Music. It's not anymore like, or Metal Blade is with Sony Music also. Like the bigger labels are with more bigger labels, because we are the last resistance of the physical stuff, the metal scene.
Yeah,
That's a disaster then.
yeah, it is, and going back to what we discussed before, my from my experience over the years, because looking back from experience, and what we touched is like basically left and right, black and white. You have two main things to go into: either you're on one of these bigger labels, Metal Blade or Nuclear Blast, or if you're do-it-yourself, underground, independent, niche music, you will unfortunately have to build your fan base through time and through albums. So one is the left side with the labels that's shooting up, and the other one is in the length. So you have your X and Y axis. So I think also it's better for the long run to have a solid fan base, because they are always very dedicated, and you can rely on them. Unfortunately, though, it demands time and it demands a longer span of
time. It is really challenging mentally, because you keep pouring your soul into your music, and then where is the result? We are already measuring our success in quality and not quantity, but we have to be able to jump from one level to the other to be able to just spread our music. So it was never about money or playing in front of thousands and thousands of people. Obviously, it is so niche music. I don't think it would happen. Yeah, if it happens, then we are happy. But as Jason said, it is important to have a dedicated fan base, a quality fan base, even if it's less than a fan base when you are on let's say, manage to get to a bigger label, and then whatever band gets trendy, that's why people are starting to listen to them. But how is this connection between the music and those fans? You don't know.
Yeah, and your any band is forced to play the game as it's presented, like with this promotion and this thing, and the way the system or the mechanization of this promotion or this whole construct is set up, it doesn't help our music. Our music is not made for being part of this game. So, but we have to play the game nonetheless. There's no other way, So it fits better, like you said, bands who have catchy stuff in 15-second, bam, 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 bam. Okay, no, unfortunately, it doesn't work for us. But we are forced to maneuver those paths. We will, but yeah. So, but yeah, we'll.
We do this because of our enjoyment. So we don't want to lose this. I mean, then there is no point.
At the end of the day, we love making music, and yeah, we'll hopefully speak with you again, in 2 years and say, motherfucker, that was another great album. So yeah,
I hope so.
Excuse my French.
Okay. Well, one of the last questions for this interview, and returning to Transcendental, is, well, we will talk it about now, especially for this thing, for the Synesthesia Matters. I think I asked you about this question when you release an album with Celestial Season, Jason. But now, we're focusing now with the answer lies the void in the black void. So if we relate this topic for the synesthesia, and what can we feel, what can we see, or what can we taste, because this how it works, the synesthesia for some people. So what kind of taste, smells, and colors that the listeners will find into this Transcendental?
Ooh. Well, I always think of well, it actually doesn't fit it, but I always say if you want to go and eat McDonald's, you are not at the right place. Because this is a well cooked, layered meal with different textures and tastes.
Yeah, I think it's this how people experience emotional wise an album. Of course, it's very personal. We try to lay out a path where people can walk into an abstract world where they can get sucked in for a journey of different feelings. But of course, even with the song, the emotional experience Martina has compared to myself is already different. So, however people experiences, for me, the most important is, have we laid out the right path so people can easily cross that bridge and disappear into that emotional state escapism, but then the job is well done, and however they feel, if it's intense in one way, well, let's say, I hope it's intense, I hope it touches them in, hits specific right spots.
It's intense for us, that's one thing for
Then,
sure.
yeah, then it's a success. So yeah.
Okay. Well, guys, we arrived to the sad moment of this interview. Thank you very much for your time. This new album is a great one. Congratulations on this new one. And perhaps do you want to add something to you? Well, you were here in Chile one time, so now perhaps you will return for a full Latin American tour. Who knows when? We don't know exactly. Perhaps do you want to add something to your Latin American fans and obviously Metallarium followers?
Yes, well, we'd like to say muchas gracias. And yeah,
We really hope to be back. We enjoyed our time there. It was a warm welcome.
yeah, yeah.
Really.
And yeah, so Latin America tour would be absolutely amazing. So yeah, we
Maybe
loved
longer one next
yeah,
time.
we really loved it across the ocean, and people are really friendly, incredibly warm and caring, and yeah, we really felt that in any case, starting with Chile was our second home now musically. So yeah.